welcome to the Red Couch to have our Launchpad conversation. And this conversation is really exciting because it's sort of like a full circle.
Yes.
I'll never forget when you came in that office with this amazing idea to feature local artists, and we'll talk more about that later.
Okay.
But wow, Shayba Muhammad, look where
Yes,
you
ma'am.
are now. Congratulations on your
Thank
success.
you. Thank you.
So we want to talk about all of that, all of your success. Where do we begin with this beautiful Manal jewelry?
Yes. Well, I'll just kind of share a little bit of what inspires me behind Manal. So Manal actually is an Arabic word, which means attainment, achievement, success. I had kind of like a soul searching session where I sat down and, I sort of asked myself, what is it that I want to communicate with the pieces that I create? How do I want to connect with the women that wear the jewelry? And so when I happened upon this name, well, first of all, I thought it was beautiful. It's an Arabic name, which was really important to me.
Yeah.
Just coming from a Muslim background and, being Muslim myself, I knew I wanted it to be an Arabic name. And what it means, attainment, achievement, success. These are things that I wanted the women who wear the jewelry to embody. And of course, it's what I wanted for the brand as well. So it was just kind of a good fit. I felt like it was, perfect.
Yeah, there's power in what you name something, right?
Yes,
Because
yes, I
it
believe
does.
it.
It aligns with that. So I'm telling you, these pieces are just so beautiful.
Thank you.
And I just love how you talk about the process behind designing the pieces, that it's so seamless and simple in a way, but they are so beautiful.
Thank you.
So can you talk a little bit about the process, your design process?
Yes, absolutely. So just as you said, I really do try to keep the designs really simple, kind of pared down classic pieces that will, you can wear it today, you can wear it years from now, and it'll still be, relevant to your wardrobe. You can wear it when you're dressing down, when you're going out, and it'll still kind of have this subtle elegance to it. So that's really important to me when I'm, designing a collection and, sort of keeping in mind the themes that I want to stay consistent. But I also try to add something special to it.
Yeah.
So during the process, I'm asking myself, are there any, inspirations? For example, I'm constantly inspired by ancient civilizations, whether they be, Mexican, Mayan, Muslim, any culture, any civilization. I'm constantly inspired by just what has been done by the people that came before us.
Yeah.
And so I kind of incorporate some of those techniques, some of those silhouettes into the pieces that I create to really give it something special so that it's not just, a simple design that doesn't really capture your attention, at the same time. So.
Yeah. So speaking of those designs, can you maybe show us some of the designs that we have here and talk a little bit about what they're called and sort of, the inspiration behind them?
Yes, absolutely. So here I have some earrings and some rings from the collection. And this is actually one of my favorite pieces here. These are called the long pied earrings.
Okay.
Now this is kind of a sister style to a bracelet that I'm wearing now. This is the irregular bangle. And the process behind this, I just kind of want to share with you really quick.
Yeah.
Because people seem to be really fascinated by this one. So I started with a piece of kind of like a strip of sheet metal, and I hammer it until the edges raise, and that's what gives this, sort of circular shape here, and then the pied shape here. And so it's a really time-consuming process, but that's part of the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And so they all come out different. When I make these pieces, they all have their own sort of character to
So
them.
each is handmade by you?
Right.
Wow.
Each piece is handmade by myself, yes. And then we have the crater rings down here. This is another hammered piece. I just kind of hammer the texture over the top. The Adas earrings, these are probably I would say my top sellers there. That's really popular. Ola earrings, we have the lunar earrings, pied rings, and paddle rings here, which I'm wearing. I love to wear those and sort of stack them up. Then we have this is one of the newer pieces, the Adas bangle. And then we have some of the other bangles that you can stack down here as well. So
wow.
Yeah.
So your jewelry has shown up in some amazing places
yes,
lately. Should we talk about that?
of course. Yeah, so I'm really excited. My jewelry was actually recently pulled for Essence magazine. So I have a few different pieces that I'd like to talk to you and share with you a little bit about that they used in the magazine. And I'll just kind of flip the page here. So these paddle rings that I mentioned, Lauren Ash is actually wearing them in this spread, this beauty spread that they did in Essence. So she's wearing one of the rings there. She's wearing the Vasio, it's a collar necklace in the next page. And then Dion Ivory, she's wearing a ring as well. So they pulled quite a few pieces for a 3-page spread that I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, so you had to be like over the moon when you found out about this. Like, take us to that moment. Like, what was it like when you found out that your pieces were going to be in this magazine?
Disbelief.
Yeah.
Yes. So I got a phone call. I don't remember who it was that called me, but it was a random phone call. Someone called and asked to speak with my PR person, and I said, well, I'm my PR person, so I can answer any questions you have. Right. And so she asked me for my contact information so that the stylist could reach out to me, and that was probably a month before I actually heard anything. So I thought, well, maybe, they weren't interested anymore or, whatever it was. And then I got an email that said, oh, we need your pieces by 8 a.m. tomorrow. And this probably was 3 p.m. or something like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, obviously I have to do it, right? Because this is Essence magazine. And so I'm thinking,
you don't tell Essence no.
Exactly, exactly. And so I called my husband, I'm scrambling. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get these to the post office before they close. Yeah. And so I'm emailing back and forth because they still hadn't told me which pieces they wanted. And I'm just like freaking out, like having a panic attack. And so I was communicating back and forth with the stylist, and he picked the pieces, and he told me what to ship off, and I shipped them off, and they got there on time. So here we are.
There's always a story behind the story.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Story behind the story. So you've been successful as an artist, designer, jewelry maker in St. Louis. So talk a little bit about some of the challenges. We hear that, St. Louis really is not the best market for creatives here, but you found success here. So, what have been some strategies that you've used and maybe some challenges that you've faced as well?
Right. So challenges, I would say, is definitely a challenge, first of all, being a Black woman. And I feel like that probably would transcend even just being in the setting of St. Louis.
Yeah. You talk a little bit more about that.
I'm sorry?
Talk a little bit more about that, just being a woman of color as an entrepreneur really in the St. Louis area.
Yes, so I would say access to resources is probably the number one challenge that I struggled with, especially trying to learn how to run a business on your own and really seeking out those resources, people who can help you, along the way, which I feel like I've been very fortunate and blessed to be able to find. It took some doing. It took a lot of actively seeking, and you have to be really sort of persistent and do your due diligence to make it happen for yourself, which, I feel like anyone who wants to be an artist has to sort of carry those characteristics, but especially as being a Black person and especially being a Black woman, we tend to not, we have even less access to those resources to educate ourselves, to be able to empower ourselves to execute whatever ideas it is that we want to execute. Yeah. So I would say that's been my biggest challenge. But I would say probably one of the benefits to being here in St. Louis is I feel like, and I don't know if maybe this just has to do with the timing, because I feel like timing can be everything as well. But I feel like there's really sort of a change happening in St. Louis, and I feel it. I feel like a lot of other artists, they feel it. it seems like there's just a movement, a collective movement
Yeah.
towards, first of all, sharing those resources, and also supporting artists.
Yeah.
So there are so many people who support me just within St. Louis alone. They love to shop the jewelry. They're always asking, what's new? Where can I buy it? They want to support. And I don't know if it's because St. Louis has just done a really good job of educating just the general public about how important supporting small business is, how important it is to support artists, makers, etc. So I feel like St. Louis has really become sort of a habitat for supporting creative entrepreneurs in general.
Yeah. And honestly, that's really what brought us together, right?
Yes.
Like social synergy, like that's the why behind what we do, is creating that space.
Yes.
And creating resources for entrepreneurs to be informed and to be connected. And so you came to us with this idea about the Maker's Mart, which does that exact thing. So you want to talk a little bit more about the Maker's Mart?
I would be happy to.
Exciting.
Yes. So this was last year, right? Oh my gosh. This was last year.
Can you believe it?
It feels like so long ago.
Yes, but it's only,
because so much has happened since then. But yes, I came to you guys about the Maker's Mart because I'm so sort of close to and familiar with the struggle of starting up as an artist, especially when you have handmade products. This was something that I feel like, since I've learned so much, I'm very passionate about sharing what I learned and supporting other artists, especially Black and Latino artists, because my experience in participating in sort of the makerspace as it's been growing and evolving in St. Louis, I noticed that a lot of times I'm the only person that looks like me in the room.
Yeah.
And, be it at craft shows or, spaces where there's supporting artists or what have you,
Yeah.
I notice there's a lot of, Black and Latino people who are just as talented. They make products as well, but we don't always see them in those spaces. And my question that I ask myself is, why is that? And speaking to them, they don't know about them. They don't know that these things exist. So the Maker's Mart was really me deciding to meet these artists where they are and say, here, let me share this with you, what I've learned, and give you a platform as well. So the Maker's Mart, the pop-up that we had, it was September 17th last year.
And where was it held?
It was here. It was here at DK Annex. Yes, I cannot leave that out because you guys, it would not have been possible without you guys. Wow. I feel like that was really a cornerstone for development for me, and it changed a lot for me. Yeah. So yes, I have to say it was here at DK Annex.
We were happy to host it. You know, I mean, the energy in the room with the creativity and just the support. It was just, and how you creatively brought together different types of artists. There were visual artists, there were musicians, designers in the space. It was just a beautiful event.
Yes, thank you.
Really, really was. Yeah.
Thank you. I really wanted to make sure that there was no competition between the artists, between the makers, and that there was a wholesome representation of products that we have to offer within a community, or that people have to offer within a community. So yeah, I made sure that there were people that selling vintage products, hair products, body products.
Had a painter,
a live painter, right? Yes, we had live musical performances. We had a woman here selling, fruit baskets that she created. And then one of my favorite parts were the networking that took place between everyone there. That was really important to me as well, to make sure that people came to this event and actually connected with each other. And also the vision board workshop. So a lot of people, I don't know if you know, but a lot of people after the event, they said that was probably my favorite part. Wow. And they felt that it was really beneficial and empowering for them to have the vision board workshop. So going forward, I definitely know that's something that I will incorporate again, because I think being able to visualize these goals that you have, being able to visualize and really start to just take time and create space to think, what is it that I really want? And so I want people to be asking themselves these questions, and then let me help connect you to the resources to get there.
Yes, yes. So that's really another reason why we do these interviews, so that we can share your story, your experiences, and inspire other entrepreneurs and leaders that are watching. You know, if it works for you, it can work for them, you
Yes.
know. So how can we follow you? How can we support, you know, Manal? How can we follow your journey to success? Congratulations again.
Thank you.
For being the winner of the Be Seen pitch competition.
Thank you.
That was a partnership between Brazen St. Louis and DK and the Hispanic Chamber. And you did a phenomenal job pitching, you know,
Thank you.
Manal Jewelry. And so you have so many more experiences that are coming from that as well.
Absolutely.
So how can we follow you?
Yes, so please, so for the jewelry, please follow me on Instagram. That is the platform that I'm most active. I love to sort of interact with everyone on that platform. So it's just at Manal. That's Mahnal.
Okay.
That's on Instagram. And of course, you can subscribe to the email list, which would just be at manal.com. You can subscribe there. And even add me on Facebook. I add people on Facebook, and I'm constantly updating, even if it's not just pertaining to the jewelry, but the Maker's Mart, or, you know, opportunities that I find and want to share with people, or whatever it is. I'm always sharing whatever it is that, you know, I find inspiring or that I think is beneficial for other people on Facebook. So you can, Shayba Mahammad, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one on there. You can add me on Facebook. Yep.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for taking time to,
thank you
talk
so
with
much.
us today. This is a special interview for us. So welcome and thank you. Welcome home, I should say.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you. I so appreciate it.